Chapter 3. 2 years later, I saw the Giffins again. It was almost the end of the fishing season. I had taken a day off from my work, and I was doing a little gentle fishing in a river near Lethan's house. Another man was fishing from the opposite bank. It was Giffin. I stood watching while he caught a large fish. Later I called to him, and we ate our sandwiches together. He had changed a lot. He'd shaved off his beard, and his face looked less thin and less serious than before. He was sunburnt, too, and looked more like a countryman than before. His clothes, too, were different. They were good, sensible country clothes, and suited him well. "I didn't know you were a fisherman," I said to him. "Oh, yes," he said. "I love it. This is only my second season of fishing, and I'm learning all the time. I wish I'd started years ago. I never realized what good fun fishing was." "Isn't this a beautiful place?" "I'm glad you enjoy fishing," I said. "It'll help you to enjoy your weekends in the country." "Oh, we don't go to London much these days," he answered. "We sold our London house a year ago. We never felt at home in London somehow. We are both so happy here. It's nice to see things growing." I liked him. He was beginning to talk like a true countryman. After a good day's fishing, he persuaded me to spend the night at Fullcircle. "You can catch the early train tomorrow morning," he said. He drove me there in his little green car. What has happened to his bicycle, I wondered, along 4 miles of country road, with the birds singing in every tree. Dinner was my first big surprise. It was simple but perfectly cooked, with wonderful fresh vegetables. There was some excellent wine, too. Strange, I thought. I'm sure the Giffins are the authors of Stay Sober, Stay Healthy. My second surprise was Giffin herself. Her clothes were pretty and sensible, and they suited her perfectly. But the real difference was in her face. I suddenly realized that she was a pretty woman. Her face seemed softer and rounder. She looked calm and happy, and pleased with her life. I asked about her home for unmarried mothers. She laughed cheerfully. "I closed it after the first year. The mothers didn't feel comfortable with the people in the village. Londoners don't like the country. It's too quiet for them, I suppose. Julian and I have decided that our business is to look after our own people here in the country." Perhaps it was unkind of me, but I mentioned the workers' education classes. Giffin looked a little ashamed. "I stopped it because I didn't think it was doing any good. Why give people things that they don't need? Education is a wonderful thing, but education, like medicine, is only useful when a person needs it. And the people here don't need it. They can teach me so much about the important things in life. I don't have anything so important to teach them." "Anyway, dear," said his wife, "you're so busy with the house and the garden and the farm. It isn't a large place, but it takes up a lot of your time." I noticed a picture on the dining-room wall. It showed a middle-aged man in the clothes of the late 17th century. He had a sensitive, intelligent face. "That's an interesting picture," I said to Giffin. "That's Lord Carteron," he said. "He built this house. We've fallen in love with Fullcircle, you see. We wanted a picture of its builder. I found this one at a big sale in London, and I had to pay a lot of money for it. It's a nice picture to live with." He was right. It was a most pleasing picture. The face in the picture looked confident and sensible. It was a kind face, but it had a rather masterful look about it. A good friend, I thought, and an amusing companion. Giffin saw me looking and smiled. "I like having him in the house," he said. We moved into the room beside the hall. 2 years before, it had been the Giffins' workroom. Now I saw with surprise it was a kind of smoking room. There were comfortable leather chairs and beautiful old wooden bookshelves. On the wall were pictures of people hunting and fishing. Above the fireplace was a stag's head. "I shot him last year in Scotland," said Giffin triumphantly. "My first stag." That surprised me. So Julian Giffen enjoyed hunting as well as fishing. It was very unexpected. On a little table were copies of The Field, Country Life, and other magazines. Nothing educational at all. Giffen saw the surprise on my face. "We get these magazines for our guests," he said. "And who are the guests? Not Dr. Swope and his companion, surely," I said to myself with a secret smile. I have many faults, and one of them is looking at other people's books. I examined the books in the Giffens' bookshelves and was pleasantly surprised. All my old favourites were there. There was nothing about the new something, or towards something else, or an examination of something completely different. As I sat in my comfortable chair, I had a very strange feeling. It seemed to me that I was watching a play. The Giffens were the actors, and they were moving quite happily about the stage in obedience to some unseen stage manager. Then, as I looked, the actors and the stage seemed to disappear. I was conscious of only one person, the house itself. It sat there in its little valley, smiling at all our modern ideas, and all the time its spirit worked its gentle influence on those who loved it. The house was more than a building. It was an art, a way of life. Its spirit was older than Carteron, older than England. A long time ago in ancient Greece and Rome there were places like Fullcircle. But in those days they were called temples, and gods lived in them. But Giffen was talking about his books. "I've been relearning my Latin and Greek," he said. "I haven't looked at them since I left university, and there are so many good English books, too, that I haven't read yet. I wish I had more time for reading. It means a lot to me." "There are so many lovely things to do here," said his wife. "The days are too short. It's lovely to be busy, doing things that I really enjoy." "All the same," said Giffen, "I wish I could do more reading. I never wanted to before." "But you come in tired from your shooting, and then you sleep until dinner," said his wife lovingly. They were happy people, and I like happiness. They know how to enjoy life, I thought. Then I had a feeling of uneasiness. They have changed so quickly, I thought. Too quickly. Something or someone has influenced them. They are nicer, pleasanter people now, but are they free? Are they doing what they want to do, or are they just actors on a stage? As Mrs. Giffen showed me up to my room, she smiled and said, "Isn't it wonderful? We found the perfect house for us. It's been so easy to change it to suit our way of life." I looked at her, and I wondered again who was doing the changing.